I think the conversation is just really interesting as well because it's a nice they do this a lot throughout the film where they keep hinting towards the idea that Banner has some kind of way of keeping the Hulk at bay. Um, and he mentions here, Natasha says to him, for a man who's supposed to be just avoiding stress, he picked a hell of a way to settle, a hell of a place to settle. And he says avoiding stress isn't the secret. Which is kind of like, oh, really, isn't it? I thought, I, from what we know about the Hulk in history of the character,
It's high BPM.
it's yeah, but it is essentially like, well, it is avoiding stress, isn't it? No, I thought that was, whereas he's completely contradicting that in one of his first lines, which is just interesting, and then it makes you think later on when there's a few more moments where there's like potential close calls. He continuously references how it's not what you think necessarily. Like I don't necessarily have to be avoiding stress or pointy things or whatever it is that he talks about.
Or anger or anything like that.
Yeah, so it's
It's
something a little bit more. There's more to it than what we maybe suspect.
It helps a lot that this is the first time since the Incredible Hulk movie that we actually
yeah.
are catching back up with Banner.
Yeah, especially because in that film it was a lot more simple. It was more like he had a little watch on that showed his BPM, like you say, Leo. It was like, if it gets too high, shit, I'm going to turn into the Hulk. If it's low, then I'm fine. It was kind of like
Yeah,
really
actually
simple.
the beats per minute explanation like kind of solidifies this because you can be angry without having a high heart rate
Yeah,
or stressed.
yeah. But this is like
Yeah, but they're different kinds of anger.
yeah, this is like a lot more of vague way of
Yeah.
explaining things, which makes it a little bit more interesting to think about. And it's kind of simmers on in the background as well, the whole film. Every time he's on screen and something kind of stressful happens, you're kind of on edge, wondering what is it that actually makes him turn into the Hulk. But yeah, then we get the rest of the
But it does get
conversation.
pointed out as well a lot. Like with Cap, it gets pointed out like I wouldn't be here if I couldn't handle pointy things.
Yeah,
And with Tony being like, "What's your secret? Bung of drums, huge bag of weed. Like, how do you keep a lid on it?"
yeah, yeah. That's the thing. They reference it a lot, and he is kind of very, very reluctant to talk about it with any detail. But
I'm
yeah,
also a huge fan of the way you turn into a giant green rage monster.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, and then we get the rest of this conversation where Natasha is basically explaining that Shield want Banner to come in not as the Hulk but as himself so that he can track the cube, which is obviously, as we already heard, emitting gamma radiation, which obviously
Low
makes
level
sense.
gamma radiation, yeah.
Yeah. And it's
And
apparently,
Fury even highlighted it. It was like
yeah,
that can be harmful.
yeah. She even says in this scene that it's so low that they can't trace it, and so they need basically the number one expert on the planet,
Yep.
and that is obviously Dr. Banner.
Yep, because that's something that's always kind of consistent with the Hulk. Bruce Banner is the guy for gamma radiation.
Yeah. And it makes sense. It doesn't mean it isn't cheap as well in the context of this film. It makes sense that they would just want him, and they aren't necessarily trying to actually, you know, covertly bring the Hulk out. It does. We can actually believe them that when they say they only want Banner because of his connection to gamma radiation and expertise in that area and stuff like that.
The fact that they found him so quickly indicates they've known where he is for
Yeah,
a while.
I'm
But
inclined to
that trust,
believe in that when she says, "We never lost you."
yeah,
Yeah,
but that's the thing. It also kind of makes it hard to believe them or trust them when he pretends to rage at her and she calls off the fucking squads around the fucking house and he's like, "Just the two of us, huh?" So they
Well,
are
but
lying to him.
But like, what
I,
is she
I, I,
supposed to do?
yeah, I also think
It would have shown faith. I would argue it would have been a much stronger character development if
I,
she was
I,
actually alone.
I think if she was actually alone, that would put him more on guard.
Yeah, and I would also think, like, how stupid would Natasha have to be to go alone when she doesn't know anything about this man? She's never met him before. She doesn't know
Yeah.
what
Well,
pushes the wrong buttons. She doesn't know. Like, it is the completely logical thing to do
All
for
you,
Shield
all
well,
you
and
no,
know
I
is if
meant
you
like
get
alone
him
on the
angry, you're
ground.
fucking dead.
They have shown that they can have F-22s, F-35s hovering at high distance and just ready to engage at any second. So Natasha just has to survive until they fucking bomb the fucking house.
That's not easy.
but yeah, it's like, how is she going to survive? And
But she
also,
would be the most capable of all to actually survive.
but she would still have to say stand down anyway, and therefore expose herself
Not
as not
really.
being what? So they just leave the F whatever you said, F-22s.
They just hover.
Their doctrine for radio communications like
They
that, where you
Or
can't actually speak, would be a series of clicks.
Yeah, they would have like a silent signal for attack or
Yeah.
stand down. Because the whole point is you want to gain his trust.
I still think though, like Banner clearly doesn't have a problem with the fact that there are other people there because he probably suspects that obviously she's not on her own because why would she be
Well,
that
yeah, no,
stupid?
he doesn't have a problem with it,
Well,
but the issue lies
Ruffalo
in
Banner
him trust.
doesn't, but Northern Banner would have,
Yeah, yeah,
and they are supposedly planning for Northern Banner, but they get Ruffalo Banner.
yeah. Although apparently Joss Whedon's first choice for Banner was Mark Ruffalo, so he obviously had that in mind from very early on.
Yeah.
And
And
obviously the studio agreed.
that's one of those weird things with the Incredible Hulk where it's like it's in this at this point it was kind of in this weird sort of like
Which Hulk
is it
are you?
canon, is it or rather or it's is it
What
canon,
kind
is
of
it,
Hulk?
Yeah.
but one thing that does help is Banner does canonically in the comics at least have dissociative identity disorder.
Not only Banner, but a Hulk as well, to a degree.
Well, yeah, because
Yeah.
Hulk is one of the personalities.
Yeah, there's I'm surprised they haven't done Grey Hulk instead of Dr. Hulk or Professor Hulk
That's
in
what I
anything.
would have done.
Yeah,
No,
that would have been a perfect in
Joe Fixer
between.
would
Like,
be interesting, and you couldn't have Mark Ruffalo play him; it wouldn't work. So
Yeah, he's
yeah,
definitely not the actor for Grey Hulk.
actually, no, he would be because Grey Hulk is like a fucking mafia boss. Like he's
yeah,
in control.
he's
Yeah,
also cold, ruthless, and violent.
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't even think
Well, I
Mark
wouldn't say
Ruffalo's done
violent.
a
He's
Ruffalo.
less violent. It's just when he needs to be violent, he's brutal.
Yeah, I just don't see Mark Ruffalo trying to play the Grey Hulk personality well.
There are, I would say, from his range that we've seen in just the Avengers, he does have the range for it.
I think this
Yeah, but
film is perfect for his version of Banner. I don't think he's
Yes.
necessarily done a very good job in any other film. Definitely not to the
if
extent that he does in this one.
well,
It,
it
it is
feels like
an issue with the. It is an issue because of his condition. Like he cannot fucking emote with his mug, which is kind of important for an actor.
it also feels like they had more of a they had his reins a lot more in this movie versus most of the other appearances of Hulk or appearances of Banner. Like eventually they did just turn Bruce Banner into Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah,
Essentially.
yeah, they did.
Yeah, same thing with Tony
No,
Stark.
worse than that. They turned the Hulk into Mark Ruffalo.
I was
Yeah,
just about to
that
say
is the issue.
the Hulk is now basically. I mean, obviously we've seen the trailers for the Spider-Man film. He looks like
Actually, yeah,
it
he
looks
looks like
like
he's
normal
the
Hulk is kind of
Avengers.
going to be back, but I don't know. It's since
God,
basically
let's hope
since this
so.
film, He's
But
not
how would
been.
that? Now, a bit of a tangent with Hawkins, the Spider-Man trailer. How the fuck does that fit in with the timeline?
How the fuck does anything fit in with the timeline at this point?
Does
Well,
he
to be
Is there
even
a
fair,
have a
timeline at
Spider-Man
kid?
this?
has been the most
Does he even
consistent
have
out
the
of all
kid
of them.
in Spider-Man, or will they be ignoring that?
I think that is being completely ignored. I haven't seen any evidence to
Wait, what is
suggest
being completely ignored?
Scar,
She-Hulk.
his child
Yeah,
from She-Hulk.
yeah,
Oh,
Is it Scar?
Scar,
yeah.
yeah.
Scar, yeah.
yeah. Well, is the
Cringe
new
name.
Spider-Man actually in the MCU or is it Sonyverse?
No, it is MCU technically.
Yeah.
So
What is
why
being
the
in?
fuck is the Hulk back to its Avenger 2012 version?
Oh, it's because people didn't like Dr. Hulk, so we're changing it back.
Yeah,
Oh
I will
God, I
be
hope it.
right
I
back,
I
guys.
hope it's
Continue.
not just that.
no worries. But yeah, we even get in this scene there's a kind of a reluctant threat from Banner where he says, "What if the other guy says no?" And he's kind of like he does that kind of thing a lot where he sort of talks about the Hulk as this thing that even he fears just as much as everyone around him fears. And Natasha doesn't really bat an eyelid here, but it is something that you kind of keep an
Oh,
eye on is the way that
I
he speaks about the Hulk.
I kind of hate that they chose that. Like the whole point of Banner and Hulk dynamic is that Banner hates the Hulk, not fears him or like the other
um,
guy. Like he
yes,
references like the
no.
Banner doesn't have an issue referencing Hulk by name and pointing out the problems with the personality Hulk.
I don't think it
So,
hurts him here. Sorry, go on, Rangy. I'll let you talk.
when it comes to the comics, from what I've read of Hulk, because I have read a bit more of Hulk than I have a lot of other characters. Uh, mostly, I'll admit it's what's the series called? It's Dake, you recommended it to me. It's the one with Devil Hulk.
I don't know. I do not read the comics and I do not
Okay,
use the
but
comics as a reference point.
basically, Banner doesn't necessarily hate the Hulk as much as his own existence, really. Because Banner's existence is miserable. He can't even really die. He could constantly does like the Hulk obviously gets him causes trouble and hurts people, and he can't really control that. But Banner is essentially somebody who is worn down by the world. He doesn't really, but it's a lot more complicated than him hating the Hulk.
Yeah,
Well,
I actually
my
like this
reference to
version
that is the
anyway.
early 2000s cartoons and especially the new one.
Oh
I,
yeah,
I
if you go to the '90s Hulk animated series, it's definitely closer to him hating it. It's rather he sees the Hulk as a condition to be cured.
Yeah, but that does make sense for a scientist.
Yep.
I think it makes sense for this version of Bruce Banner as well because Mark Ruffalo has obviously been cast for a specific to play a specific kind of Banner, and he's obviously not meant to be as kind of resentful necessarily, or at least not in such an aggressive way as maybe previous versions have been.
Well,
Because
no, not as aggressive.
he's
It's not
just
that he
like
has to be as aggressive about it. It's just that he wouldn't be afraid to say his name or like point out that, yeah, I hate the Hulk.
I can see
Uh,
why someone
I
in that situation would be though, and like it maybe it's kind of especially after so long. He's been over a year, as Natasha says, it's been over a year since an incident. So he's obviously like making great effort to keep the Hulk at bay and not do anything that might bring him out. It
and
makes
I
sense.
can
Yeah.
believe sort of a discomfort of like like knock on wood, talking about, oh wow, nothing bad has happened to me recently. It's you
Yeah, yeah. It's almost
even
like
if
you
you
don't
don't
want to don't want to even mention it because it might, jinx you or whatever.
yeah, even if you don't actually believe in the superstition, it is just you don't want to invoke that.
Yeah.
Did Dick die?
He said he'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Oh, okay. I know what he's doing then. Okay.
Hmm.
But yeah,
If he
so
stepped away and when I don't hear the sound of him yelling at his cat, then I know where he's gone.
yeah. So then we get a little joke where Banner wonders if Fury wants him to swallow the cube. But this is when we get that moment when Natasha explains that actually they want Dr. Banner instead of the Hulk because we need to track the cube. Um, and then Banner questions that and he wonders like, he kind of tries to push her a little bit and wonders, oh yeah, sure. So maybe, he isn't after the monster, and then he wonders if Fury tells Natasha everything, and then Natasha kind of tries to move the subject, change the subject, move the conversation on, and then this is when he like snaps, um, and asks her to stop lying, and that's when she like her kind of calm immediately erodes, and you kind of realize that actually she is incredibly concerned about the prospect of, you know, Banner turning suddenly.
Also, actually, to point out, don't you think it's kind of fucking stupid that she taped a gun under the table when she knows what the Hulk can do?
Look, but if I'm going to be in a room trapped in a room with a Hulk, I'd rather be trapped in a room with a Hulk and have a gun than
Yeah,
trapped in there and not
The
have a
exactly.
gun's
gun.
not gonna
Yeah.
do anything besides piss him off
Well,
more.
Well, it might be able to slow him down a bit by shooting him before he
that's what I
transforms.
was gonna
It probably
say.
won't
Yeah,
stop him,
I think if you
but it might.
shot Banner as human form, it would probably delay him slightly, and then you could maybe escape just while he
Yeah,
Or
turns
make
into
the
Hulk.
transformation faster. Because as he
uh,
said, he tried to like shoot himself in the mouth, and the other guy spat it. So it had to be pretty fucking quick of a transformation.
Not
well,
necessarily.
so this is another thing where that is from the comics. Banner heals. Like he has basically a healing factor. That's basically what the Hulk is.
Yeah,
It's not that
but
he's like invulnerable. He heals really fast.
Tell
also
that to fucking Ed, Gabe.
yeah, but also in the Incredible Hulk when he jumps out the helicopter at the end, um, or the plane, he jumps out and lands on the ground as human Banner, and it takes a few seconds, like quite
Yeah.
a while,
Also,
surprisingly long for him to turn into the Hulk.
Actually, that's in Ragnarok. In the
No, no, it also happens in
Incredible
the
Hulk,
Incredible
he
Hulk.
transforms before he lands.
No, he doesn't. He
also
hits
I
the ground.
remembered the series I was trying to recall. Immortal Hulk. That's what it's called.
A good run. A
A
very good
very
run.
good run.
Oh,
But in Immortal Hulk, I know it's basically implied like Banner so Immortal Hulk is the aftermath of Banner literally trying to design a thing specifically to kill him, and having Clint shoot him with it,
Yes.
and he comes back from that.
Yes.
Yeah.
imagine the fucking awkward conversation every time Banner tries to off himself and be like, "Hey God, yeah, fourth attempt. I know. Do I get a stamp this time for the free coffee?"
Immortal Hulk actually kind of deals with that.
Yep, it does.
I was joking. Holy shit.
No, it does though. It kind of does directly deal with that.
Yeah,
Fucking hell.
I think generally we're supposed to assume that the Hulk is unkillable, like outright, and
he
nothing.
is.
Like even if he gets defeated or like slowed down
He
significantly,
has
he
been
will
killed
eventually
multiple
heal.
times and come back. Yeah.
Yeah.
In
It,
all of Hulk canon, now I'm not the biggest expert, as again I said earlier, I'm a much more of a DC guy than a Marvel guy, but I've read a lot of Hulk over the last few years to catch up. And as far as I can tell, the only thing that can actually kill Hulk is basically the same as Wolverine. It's kind of
Age.
eventual old age and degradation.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Nobody's ever truly gone.
Well, the only Hulk that really dies per se is the Maestro, and that one is a case of just lack of decent sustenance and, well, degradation. Like no
Yeah.
other Hulk really dies. exactly.
That's the impression I
Yeah.
get from all the especially the MCU films. He's never
Before
ever threatened to a
before
significant degree.
chat before chat and commenters come after me for that one, I do specifically mean iterations of Bruce Banner. I don't mean like random other Hulk man or
Yeah,
this dude was Red Hulk for an episode or an arc. Like that, no, I mean Banner.
yeah,
I'm just being clear. Like when I say iterations of Hulk, I mean, you know,
yeah. I think that's fair. I mean, yeah. Obviously, in this context, we're
Well,
obviously talking about
the,
Banner anyway.
technically there is another iteration where the Hulk dies by Thanos, basically using the time stone on him to turn him into fucking dust. But yeah, same thing as
That,
Aiden.
that might do. We don't actually know if actually that if Hulk
Well,
could die
actually,
of old age.
technically, the Infinity
well,
Gauntlet in the
we
MCU is
do.
for the Hulk.
We kind of do because we see Maestro, which is meant to be an alternate future version of Hulk, and
Oh, okay.
he does die not only from old age, but like it is
Starvation.
age starvation are both a factor.